Drop by Drop Makes the Ocean. Author is Bhumija Rishi. Once upon a time, there was a little village in a faraway land. Just outside the village was a pond. It was dark blue and deep in the middle. Beautiful creepers grew along its boundaries. They had pink and white flowers and a lovely fragrance. All the little boys and girls loved the pond. They often came to swim and play in it. In summers, the cool water would refresh them from all the dust and heat. "It is so nice and beautiful," they would always say that. Then one day, some men who were not from the village came to the pond. They started diverting the water from the pond to small channels to the nearby fields. These channels looked like small streams. They called them irrigation channels. The elders around them said that it would help the plants in their fields grow taller and greener. The plants after some time grew taller and stronger, but the pond was not as deep as before. It became shallow. The little boys and girls could also see the bottom of the pond was now filled with rocks, fish, and water plants. They felt bad but decided to remain quiet. Some time later, a factory came up near the village. It let out a lot of thick black smoke that smelt very bad. It also discharged many chemicals into the pond. When these chemicals traveled from the pond to the irrigation channels to the field, many plants died. The pond became black from blue and smelt horrible. It smelled so bad that the children did not like going near it anymore. They could not even think of splashing water and playing in it as before. "This is so dirty. How can we play in it?" they exclaimed. Then came the summers. It was scorching hot. The pond dried up completely. There was not a drop of water left in it. Such was the heat that the beautiful creepers around the pond died too. The children started crying. "Why are you crying?" asked Motu's granny, who had come to visit Motu from the nearby village. The kids told them what had happened over the past few months. Granny was very upset too. "This is not done," she said. "Human beings have become very selfish and greedy. For short-term gains, they quickly use up all the natural resources. Now the pond has dried up. From where will we get fresh water for our daily use? We must revive the pond." "But how?" all the kids asked in unison. "I have a plan in mind. I will first ask the village elders to close these irrigation channels for some time. They are responsible for draining almost all the water from the pond. But all you children have to help me as well. Do you use Facebook and WhatsApp?" Yes, we love both Facebook and WhatsApp and use them all the time to speak to our friends." "Okay," smiled Granny. "Now you will use Facebook, WhatsApp, and other social networking sites to spread awareness about what is happening to your village pond." "But why would people be interested in knowing what is happening to a pond in our little village, Granny?" asked Motu. "Why not?" said Granny. "Most people in our country still live in villages. Even those who live in cities came from villages. We must be concerned about what is happening in our villages, especially when it comes to the destruction of natural resources, because they contribute to our very existence. If we are able to generate enough awareness about the exploitation of natural resources, help will surely pour in. We must be positive and keep working to achieve what we truly want." "Yes, Granny, you are right. I have some photographs of the pond when it was dark blue and deep and so clean. I will use those photographs to make a video and compare those images with the present day situation," said Chintu. "That's a great idea," Motu agreed. "We can also interview our parents to help people understand the situation and spread those videos on WhatsApp groups. Guys, let's go, get to work. We must make our pond like before. My daddy is a journalist in the newspaper Our Village Times. He can surely help us in spreading this news to nearby villages," said Pinky. "Good, my kids. I'm glad that you have understood my point. Every effort counts. Remember, drop by drop makes the ocean." A few days later, Motu called all his friends home when his granny was waiting for them. Tea and biscuits were laid out for them. Namaskar, Granny. All the kids greeted her and sat down. It looked like a very purposeful gathering. Once they had settled, Granny started speaking. I have wonderful news. I spoke to the Council of Elders, the Panchayat. They were more than eager to address the issue. They have decided that only a few irrigation channels will function now, even that only after the pond revives. This can only happen after it rains. Secondly, the impact of the news in the newspaper of Pinky's father was so much that the government forced the factory to first purify the liquid waste it produced and only then discharge it into the river. Now the pond will no longer be polluted. Yippee, said Pinky. Do you know, Granny, the videos on the degradation of our village pond have gone viral on YouTube and Facebook? People have offered to help us in every possible way. Many people have also shared similar stories about how ponds, canals, lakes and wells have dried in their villages and towns. We have all formed a WhatsApp group where people can share similar stories about how water resources near them are under threat, said Chintu. I think we can also plan to spread this message in forms of posters and other creative art in our village melas. This will support our cause towards bettering the environment. See how you have already come up with such brilliant ideas. I really like them, said Granny. This can become a movement in our entire state and who knows, maybe even our entire country. If you truly believe in something, tell yourself that it can happen, it will happen, and it must happen.